Oh boy, I just got the big recording in progress.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay, so starting off with something, well, actually Nancy wanted this. There were two songs that Nancy wanted played. This is a song that Terry, this is in Spanish, Terry gave Nancy. Maybe somebody who's fluent in Spanish can translate it, but it's The Love of My Life.
Put your original sound for musicians on. That little green icon up in the corner that says original sounds for musicians on. If you can.
Llegaré 3 veces antes de que llegue el alba. Me fundiré la noche donde me aguarda la nada. Me perderé en la angustia.
Wait a minute, what, am I sharing my screen or did I forget to do that?
No, there's no screen.
Okay, it's like I've never run a meeting before.
Oh, that makes it easier.
That sounds better now too.
Te negaré 3 veces antes de que llegue el alba. Me fundiré en la noche donde me aguarda la nada. Me perderé en la angustia de buscarme y no encontrarme. Te encontraré en la luz que se me esconde tras el alma. Desandaré caminos sin salidas como muros.
Okay, Patricia, do you want to try translating that for Nancy? Patricia,
Hello, Jim.
you want to try translating that for Nancy? She doesn't know Spanish.
Oh my goodness, very, very difficult.
Okay, does anybody want to volunteer to translate? Tom.
Oh, maybe Tom.
Tom, your microphone's off.
Well, that's okay. I wasn't speaking. I don't know. It's tough.
Okay, Roger.
No, it's not. I'm not up for it.
I will deny you 3 times.
3 times.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what el alba means.
I don't either.
Before the sun comes out.
What?
Before the sunrise.
Before
the sunrise, yes.
I'll melt in the night where. No, I can't.
Where I keep myself the nothing.
Okay, so maybe this isn't such a
Where
good idea.
nothing is waiting for me.
Oh, where
nothing
nothing
is
is
waiting
waiting
for
for
me.
me. I'll
Mm-hmm.
lose myself in the anguish of looking for myself and not finding myself.
Not finding
I
myself.
find you in the
I'll
light.
find you in the light. Yeah.
That I find through my soul.
That I hide behind my soul.
Hide be that.
Yeah.
Me esconde. That is hiding behind my soul.
The light that's hiding behind my soul.
So the day before, or maybe it was even the day that Terry died, Corina was on Catalina Island, and Terry wrote that he loved this song.
26 miles.
Oh, yes.
Oh.
He did.
26 miles across the sea, Santa Catalina the island of romance. Romance, romance, romance. Water all around it, everywhere. Tropical trees and the salty air. But for me, the thing that's awaiting there, romance. It seems so distant, 26 miles away, resting in the water serene. I'd work for anyone, even the Navy, who would float me to my island dream. 26 miles so near yet far, I swim with just some water wings and my guitar. I could leave the wings, but I'll leave the guitar for romance, 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 romance. 26 miles across the sea, Santa Catalina is a-waiting for me. Santa Catalina, the island of romance. A tropical heaven out in the ocean, covered with trees and girls. If I have to swim, I'll do it forever, till I'm gazing on those island worlds. 40 kilometers in a leaky old boat, any old thing that'll stay afloat. When we arrive, we'll all promote romance, 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 romance. 26 miles across the sea, Santa Catalina is a-waiting for me.
Okay, so if anybody would like to speak, now's your chance. So Sarah, you always got something to say. Would you like to say something?
Sorry for my pronunciation, Nancy. I am Sara. You remember me? I am from Argentina.
Yes, I think we met once.
Yes.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I can say this. I will remember Terry with joy, because it was my favorite Scorpio. I am. My birthday is November 14, and he was November
13.
13. Yes. And your grandchild?
Yes, is due
maybe is another Scorpio.
Right.
Okay?
Another 14, November 14 or 15,
Ooh.
or maybe earlier. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes. Oh, that's great.
Kisses and hugs from Marta from Mexico. She's at work, and I write, Marta, Nancy is with us, and she said, "Okay, I am in my car, in the car."
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Okay.
Well, I wanted to tell all of you how much Terry loved you all, and he loved coming to this group on Wednesday nights, and he loved the fact that many of you then also did WhatsApp during the day. It seemed like all day long he was getting messages, and you'd start off the morning with messages and just the whole day, and you'd end up the evening with messages, and he loved that. And I was telling Jim that Terry was lucky to be living in the age where he had the computer to be able to communicate with so many of you, because he wasn't going out into big crowds because of COVID and so forth. So, but he loved being able to see you on Zoom and here on WhatsApp. So, and I was going to show you a picture. Let's see if I can make it work this time again. This is, it's a picture of us last year at our 50th anniversary.
Oh,
Yes,
Yeah.
we saw it.
Congratulations.
lovely.
How lovely.
Thank you.
Beautiful picture.
Congratulations.
Yes, we were very lucky. So actually, if you have any, you could think about, if you have any sayings in Spanish that I'm looking for a saying to go on the program for some sayings to go on the program for his memorial in Spanish that, I mean, if anyone has anything, you could maybe send it to Jim or send it directly to me, but you have to put a translation, an English translation with it. So
I think
but it seems like there were a lot of those floating around every day when you would send messages to each other. Yeah, those
Mhm.
one-line things.
Nancy, I would like to add that I only joined this group very recently, like within the last 3 months.
Mhm.
So I met Terry very briefly online, and then unfortunately I experienced, the tragedy, and I was so impressed with how many people were touched by him from this group, just how many people were saying, oh, he was meeting with me privately, he was helping me privately, he was so giving. This group has, let's say, I don't know, 60 members, and 47 of them have a personal story of how, and I don't know the numbers, but it just seemed to me like percentage wise, he personally affected so many people of this group that I just joined. And so I met him and he seemed very nice, and he and I had like one brief interaction, but I was very touched by how tightly he was connected to so many people in this group, and I felt really privileged to see that, because it's kind of the best part of being human.
Yes, he seemed-
Identify where you live so she knows.
Oh, so I live in Silicon Valley in Mountain View.
Oh.
And I talked with Terry in several short, small groups. My grandfather died of COPD. And so the first time I got on a call with him, I noticed that he had a cannula, and someone asked him how he was doing. And I said, oh, my papa always said, I'm here today, better than the other option. And
Yes.
he smiled at me, and we made eye contact, and he was like, you get me, you know what's going on with me. And I was like, yep, we're not going to have this conversation, but I get you. My papa lived through that. So
Yeah. Well, Terry didn't have COPD, but he had the opposite. He had a sort of a rare lung disease that he inherited, I think, from his father. We found after Terry was diagnosed 7 years ago, his sister found the father's death certificate from 15 years earlier. And on there, it was listed pulmonary fibrosis. That's what he had.
Okay.
And we have since then, we belong to a support group through UCSF here in University of California in San Francisco. And it seems like many, many people have fathers, brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles that have died of pulmonary fibrosis as well. The only cure for it, and I don't know if that is used also for COPD, but the only cure is a lung transplant, which is a massive surgery, many months.
So COPD
And,
is the same deal, but most COPD patients aren't healthy enough to be lung transplant patients. So it's not really an option. It's just.
Right. And Terry had aged out of the program. He was too old. They don't usually do them past about 70. And he had a few other underlying conditions. But I think the pulmonary fibrosis that gave him pulmonary hypertension, which made one chamber of his heart much, much bigger. And so the day that he died, he was able to continue doing things all the way up to the very end. He had dropped me off in the morning at a friend's house so that I could go on a hike with them. And then he went to the neighboring town to get some salad that we all liked that I was going to take to a party that afternoon. And when I got home is when I found him, and at the computer, as Jim said. And so he may have been communicating with one of you at that time. I don't know, because he loved to do that every day. So am
Well,
I talking?
he was driving that day?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's one of the things that he felt he could do still well, because he couldn't walk too well because of a bad knee, and they couldn't give him any more cortisone, and they couldn't do surgery. So we went a lot of places. We would always go on what we called field trips all around the Bay Area. So fortunately, we live in a place that has a lot of things to do. So we saw a lot of museums and beaches and just interesting things everywhere.
If anybody wants to say anything, you can just jump right in. I'm not going to call on people.
Well, Nancy, Jim and I are both neighbors. As you probably know, Jim, of course, and then I'm between you guys, and very ironically, kind of like Camille, I had not been in the group as long as most of the members here, and had not spoken much with him personally outside of a small group. But literally, the last meeting before, I thought, I've got to get in touch with Terry and come visit him in person, because he's compromised with this, and have a visit with you guys. And then came the very sad news. So it was, we were all shocked in many ways. So
Yes, I wish it had been much later, because he still had so much life in him. Yeah.
So Roger lives in San Rafael.
Uh-huh.
Nancy, I live in Santa Rosa, and I thought that Terry told me your daughter lives pretty close to me.
Oh, yes.
She lives on the other side of Calistoga Road from me. I'm in the kind of the foothills area.
Oh, yes.
So I think that she lives, within a mile probably. So
She used to like to go on her walks there, because that would,
it's hilly. It's
yeah,
good. Yeah,
it
it's
was
good
hilly.
exercise. My husband and I were doing that during all the lockdowns and stuff. But yeah, I'm going to really miss Terry. Some people have been in the group longer than I have, but I can't believe it's been like probably about a year and a half now. And yeah, I mean, Terry is just a light in this group. So I think we're all really going to miss him. And I'm so glad you came tonight to talk to us.
Thank you. Well, I always appreciated how positive he was, even though he knew he had this terminal disease, and he was already 7 years into it, and they told him that he had 3 to 5 years to live 7 years ago. And so he had already outlived the prediction, and he planned to live much longer.
And my father-in-law had pulmonary fibrosis. He was a Navy pilot, and he knew other Navy pilots and a flight attendant in their little support group in Maine. And I think for my father-in-law, it had to do with he was on aircraft carriers, and it was all the exhaust.
Fumes, right.
Yeah. And he lived about the expected time frame that they gave him, which was 4 to 5 years. So he was a fighter in a long time.
And Terry was also lucky to be taking a medication that helped make things slow down some, although it was a very heavy duty medication, and it took him a long time to get used to it. And he went through lots of terrible hives and this and that and everything else until his body finally accepted it. But I think it helped him live a little longer.
The other thing, which it almost doesn't need saying, but for those of us of a certain age, I think we appreciate the good fortune he had in just quietly slipping away without
Mhm.
some awful period of suffering. And so in that way, he was fortunate.
Yes, we weren't prepared for that. We were much more prepared for the long, slow, not being able to breathe death. But I think you're right. I think it quietly slipping away is a much better way to go.
So Nancy from Mexico is here. Nancy,
Oh, great.
we played your song, but about El Amor, but nobody knew how to translate it. We needed you.
Hi.
Hi.
Okay. Terry texted me for say me, hey Nancy, we can do anything for Carlos Toledo because his wife passed. I said, okay, I will try to found a song for him. I had a playlist, and Terry told me, I love the song The Love of My Life from Pablo Milanés. And he told me that song made me cry because it's a song beautiful. It's a beautiful song because talk about the love, the couple. He say is beautiful. I never feel tired to hear the song. And the song say more or less. I call lost you. I could have only nothing, but I know that I couldn't do anything, but you always be the love of my life. It's beautiful, that song. I never found a song with lyrics in English, but in Spanish it's beautiful. Yes.
Okay, thank you. There was.
I'll get the translation for you, Nancy, and I'll send it.
Oh,
to
I
you.
would love that.
I'll translate it for you.
Okay.
I need to have a dictionary open to do it. though.
Yeah, okay, great. Someone else sent Terry a song, and it was a song for Terry. He played it for me, and then I heard it playing a lot on his computer. I don't know who it was, and I don't know if that was the real name of the song or, and it wasn't really a song, it was just an instrumental. I don't think there were any words to it.
Must be Marta, maybe, Sarita.
Oh, maybe Marta?
Maybe Marta from Mexico.
Yes, because she plays
Oh, it was the
instruments.
person that,
Saxophone.
it was the
And-
person that plays the saxophone.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yeah, that would be Marta. Yeah.
it's Marta.
Okay, I'll maybe I can get her to send that to me as well.
She's not at home in this moment.
Okay.
But Nancy, I don't think anybody has to tell you that no matter what the conversation was at any given time, Terry had a song. Terry knew a song. There was always a song that fit whatever topic. I have to say that you know, because of the nature of this group, we form friendships across cultures very easily here. I spend much more time speaking with, I'm just going to go across my screen here, speaking with Daisy and Sarah, Rosanna and Nancy than I do Jim and Corinne. And it's just the nature that we speak English. Jim doesn't put us into rooms together as often. But Terry touched my heart, you know, and all of us. He's just the humor, the good mood, you know, just always upbeat, and you know, what a gem. And you know, I'm sure you're a very special woman to have kept him lassoed for 50 years.
Oh, well, he really was a gem. I don't know if you knew other things about him, like he was our cook in our family. He did all the cooking.
Yes, he told us.
Okay, and his specialty was grilled salmon. And I don't know if you know what that means, and I don't know how to say it in Spanish.
Salmon?
Yes,
Salmon,
okay.
sí.
Salmon a la plancha.
Yeah. So he liked to cook most of the time on our barbecue or our grill. So I was always the cleanup person, and I loved his cooking. And he always said, "Oh, you just like to be cooked for, and this is nothing special." But he could just take and open the refrigerator and see what we had and put it together, and it tasted delicious. I don't know. And I can barely make anything, even following a recipe. So that was always good. And he loved to listen to music. That's where he heard all of those songs, I guess. And he had a very eclectic taste in music. He would listen to lots of different things. So sometimes I would hear the Beach Boys, and other times it was a country western song, and other times it would be an opera aria in Italian from some opera. And so he just loved to have music going the whole time. And he was also very supportive of me in my music, because I sing in several choruses. So Terry would come and usher at our concerts, or back in the day when he would go into crowds, and he spent many years as a tour guide too. So he took a lot of groups into South America and Central America and Mexico, and especially groups of travel agents. And he would do something called familiarization tours, where he would introduce them to all of these places so that they could then introduce their clients and take them there, which was always good. And so he also took my choruses on trips to England and Europe. We did several singing tours through all there, and he would put it all together. I think our smallest group was 54 people, and our largest group was 98. If you can imagine planning accommodations and food and lodging for that many people, and our performances. And he was quite a pro at doing those things.
Nancy, what groups do you sing with, if you don't mind my asking?
Oh, I sing with the Dominican chorale. It's through a local, you know, Dominican, if you live in San Rafael, right?
Yeah.
And I sing with the Marin Symphony Chorus. And then another one that meets in the summertime, Consort Chorale.
Yeah, I saw your last concert. It was beautiful. That was incredible. I was just absolutely amazed at the quality of music. It's fabulous.
Was this Consort or the Marin Symphony?
The concert chorale, the one done recently in San Anselmo?
Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
done. Beautiful.
Yeah, I didn't sing this summer, but I wanted to be home more with Terry instead of all the rehearsals. So
Yeah. Oh, wonderful.
yes, I know. It's a very, very talented group of people and
Yes, it's a Marin
amazing.
Symphony Chorus. Also, Marin Oratorio has gotten really quite good.
Right.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that warms my heart to know that you do that. That's great.
Right. I was a music major in school and then taught music for 30 years.
Nice.
So,
Nancy, you don't need to practice English. Your English is so good.
oh, thank you.
Thank you. You are the best student.
Oh. I wish my Spanish were as good as your English. You all. And I applaud you learning another language, both the people that are learning Spanish and the ones that are doing English.
This group was born to practice English and became a great group of friends talking or speaking in, I don't know, another language. Or
Do you remember?
Argentino, doesn't matter the language.
Do you remember past year when we celebrate Sarita's and Terry's birthday together? That night on Wednesday, we celebrate their birthdays together. We put on some wigs. We were in the 70s. Don't you remember, Sarita?
Sí, yo sí me acuerdo. I remember.
Nancy?
I think Terry showed me, I think Terry took some pictures and showed me some photos of everybody in their crazy costumes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nancy, the last time I talked to Terry, we are talking about you because you are in an excursion with your friends. Can you remember?
Oh,
yes.
Maybe I was up at Yosemite, maybe hiking.
Yes, you are hiking. You are alone at home. You are so lonely. Sorry, no, I am happy because I can watch every channel in the TV that I want.
Yes, yes.
Yes, he told me that.
Right. Yes. He preferred things like World War II movies and I don't know, lots of action things. And of course, I like the opposite. Though it was sometimes hard to find something we both liked.
Yes, he told me that.
Yes. I think he liked being home alone sometimes. But then
yes, he told me that. He told me that.
But not too long.
Yes.
We were very lucky. Just 2 weeks before he died, two of his sisters came and stayed with us for a week. So, and we went all over the Bay Area and did lots of things. Terry waited in the car much of the time, or he would join us for lunch, but it was a fun time. And so they're coming back again. We're having a memorial service for him. And I will see if I can get that part of it taped too. And after I finish writing the obituary, I will also send that to Jim that he can send out to people.
Thank you. Could you tell us one or two of the places the sisters went when visiting Jim?
Oh, when they were here visiting Terry? Oh yeah, we went to Muir Woods, with the big redwoods. We went to Point Reyes.
Oh wow.
We went to the little town of Bolinas and to walk on the beach. He loved driving over this. We live on Bolinas Road in Fairfax, California. And there's a road. It used to be an old stagecoach road that goes from Fairfax to Bolinas. And it goes around many turns, twists and turns, and up one side of Mount Tamalpais and down the other side. And so that was his favorite way to go. And so let's see, what else did we do?
Did you take that route?
Yes. Mhm.
Oh my, how lovely. How absolutely wonderful to be able to do these things.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Through the redwoods. That's the other thing. Terry was a very good driver. So he drove most of the time. I'm a very timid driver. So I was very happy to be driven every place. And now
It's kind of
now-
sketchy going up Mount Tam.
Yeah.
Little winding roads there.
Yes.
It's beautiful. What a
Very
beautiful, beautiful trip.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So there's so many pretty places around here.
He always say, when you come to California, you can visit beside me. I can pick you at the airport, and I can show you the Sonoma.
Oh,
Sonoma,
Sonoma.
Sonoma, the bay, a lot of places.
yes,
Mhm.
many things. I think he said somebody might come to visit. I don't remember who that was or when it was, but he seemed excited about that. So, and he used to show me pictures of people that you had sent him that were you were on vacation here or there, and there were two women that met in the group, and then they went off on vacation together, maybe to Italy. I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah, Vivian.
yeah.
Oh, and the other Nancy.
Ah,
The other Nancy.
This is I think we have 6 Nancys.
really?
There's a lot. I don't know.
See?
It seems like here Nancy is a very old name. You know, that's only old people like me have that name, but
Yeah,
Sarah
I
is
actually,
one.
I have a
Sarah
question
is
for,
only one.
I
Only
have a
one
question.
Sarah.
I have a question for the Spanish speakers. Is Nancy a common name in the Spanish speaking countries?
Yes,
Yes.
it's really common.
Oh,
It's really common.
oh,
okay.
Uh-huh.
And in the young people too. Yes?
young
Mm.
people.
So,
Yes.
yes.
In
Look at
in
me.
my 30 years of teaching students, and I had many students every year, I only had
Mhm.
one Nancy ever.
Wow.
So
What did you teach, Nancy?
music,
At the
Music.
high school level or the junior high level?
middle school,
Middle school.
with all those misbehaving students.
So you're a saint.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Was that in Fairfax or where was that?
In Fairfax at White Hill School,
Oh, okay.
the last one out. Terry did some Spanish teaching in school too. When we first met, he was teaching school in Kansas, actually, where he had gone to school at Fort Hays State. And then when he came out here, he mostly was in the travel business for many years. And then when our daughter was born, things changed all of a sudden. The peso was devalued in Mexico. And so all of the clientele that came from Mexico to the United States, they weren't coming anymore because it was too expensive to come. So the tour business that he was doing wasn't doing well. So we traded, and he stayed home and raised our daughter, which he loved doing. And I went back to teaching full time. And so that worked out. And then after that, he started teaching in schools here. he loved teaching. Some of you that live nearby know the town of Nicasio, that little town out in the country. He taught there in that, well, it's a 3-room schoolhouse.
Oh, it's right there. Yeah. Yeah. interesting.
Yeah, and he loved doing that, and those kids were very responsive. But then he got a job teaching in a middle school in Petaluma, and Spanish was required, and you had to be in the class whether you liked it or not, which was a real mistake, I think, because Terry loved the language and he really valued it. And so to have kids just say, why do I have to do this? I'll never use this. I don't want to learn Spanish. That was just really difficult for him. So he didn't do that very long.
Oh, wow.
When I went to the Spanish class that Jim invited me to come to this luncheon that they were having, I told people that Terry, sometimes at night, he loved the language so much that he would be reading a book on how to conjugate various Spanish verbs, if you can imagine. I mean, but he also read his share of science fiction and those other things, but I often would see him with this little blue book of Spanish verb conjugations. So.
Es muy
Thank you.
difícil para nosotros
Sí.
conjugar los verbos en español.
Thank you for sharing that with us, Nancy. I think many of us here also would think about putting the conjugation book in front of our face before we go to bed, but maybe not make that choice. So
Yeah, those are the things I hated when I was trying to learn a language. So when I learned my 2 years of Spanish, I only learned how to speak in the present tense.
But he had a perfect Spanish.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He used to say that when he met people that he also had an insurance business for about 10 years and he said that when he met people after talking to them for months or years on the phone, they were always astonished that he was this white guy with blonde hair. So that he wasn't Hispanic.
Mhm.
He was an excellent and patient teacher
Yes.
to all of
Very
us.
patient.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We will remember him with much love.
Yes. He felt it. He knew that love was shared between many people.
Mhm.
Well, I appreciate all of you sharing these things
thank you.
with me.
Me too.
And I will,
Mm.
after we get things more organized here, I will send them on to Jim so that he can send them to you. And
Thank you.
if somebody could ask, oh, it was Marta, you said that from Mexico, that plays the saxophone. Maybe Jim, you could help me get in touch with her, because I would love to have that piece of music that she sent to Terry, and I'd love to know more about it, whether it was really called that, a song for Terry, or she just found it and sent it to him. I don't know. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you all very much, and I guess I'll sign off and
Thank
and
you.
you can
Thank you.
continue.
Thank you.
thank
for
you for your
coming,
time,
Nancy.
Your time
Nancy.
with us,
We
Nancy.
appreciate you joining
Thank you
us.
to
Nice
you,
to meet
Nancy.
you.
Thank you.
Much love.
Yeah, take
Bye.
care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye now, decía Terry.
I